live with Tao. Celebrating the way of Lalaji, Jazb and Suluk, the teachings. Sufism is an offshoot of Islam. Out of the four pillars of Islam, Sufism focuses on two things, Haqq and Tariqat. Haqq means truth and Tariqat means way. It is a journey of transformation from your present state of awareness or understanding to know what truth is. What is truth? Haqq. For that, you need a methodology, how to reach to that state. In this process, it is the energy that is needed to know. Energy is the essence of life. Anything that you perform in life, even walking, talking, or anything, you need energy. Every aspect of life. So energy is the life force or the basis for all activities of life. And without this, you cannot perform anything. So Jazb literally means to absorb. What you absorb the energy. The energy has to be absorbed into you, and that will propel you to continue the process of transformation or the way to reach to the Haqq. That is where it comes Tariqat. So first and the foremost thing is energy to be absorbed. First, in any process, the energy has to be absorbed, the basic energy that you are born with. Then you have to know how to generate more energy, and then how to conserve this energy, that it is not leaking out in any way. And when it is conserved, then the process it is distributed throughout the system. Your hands have the energy to move with the same dexterity that your eyes or mouth or anything is happening. So there is a harmony how the energy flows through the various channels in the body. You buy a laptop or any appliance, it has a basic charge in it. So this is where when the company sells you a product like laptop, it has a basic energy which is important. You buy a smartphone, it has a basic charge in it. Then you have to know how to charge it. So you need the charger and you need the port to charge it. So the charger cannot directly connect it to this regular supply of the energy, which is your electricity. And then you need devices. Your system has to be facilitated with that energy. So now when it comes to the electricity, you have the electricity in your house, you have the other facilities in existence. As you move on a day-to-day basis, you breathe and energy comes in. You are breathing the cosmos. During the time when you were in mother's womb, it is through the umbilical cord that you are connected to the source of energy and you are being nourished and nurtured. After birth, when you take the first breath, that connection with the mother, the source of energy during that period of uh, conception, from conception to birth, the period of 9 months, you were absorbing the energy through the umbilical cord, which was the charger then. Now that connection is severed, and you have to consciously connect to the cosmic source through your breathing patterns and different things. So the problem arises when the connection is not established from the existential source, which is the source of energy. The existence, the cosmos, or whatsoever you may call or give it a name, is the source of energy. And this energy has to come into you. It is already there. It is one form of energy, but this energy has to change its form. Like for instance, there is an electrical energy, and the electrical energy is transformed into light energy. Because you cannot use the electric energy is the basic energy, and this energy is needed to become the light energy, and for that you need a bulb. And the light energy, the electrical energy, when passes through the bulb, it is transformed into light energy. So too, if you want to cook something, then it is the same electrical energy through your appliance, electric stove. It transforms the electrical energy into the heat energy for that particular purpose. The same electrical energy through the air conditioner becomes a cooling energy and gives you the cool air, so on and so forth. So this energy has to flow freely, it has to be absorbed, and if it is not absorbed, just as water, if it falls on a concrete surface, it will not be absorbed by the ground. Instead, it will start floating from a higher altitude to the lower. It can create flood or different situations. The moment it is absorbed by the soil, the nutrients that are there in the soil, they are absorbed in that water that has been soaked by the earth, and then helps in the process of the growth of the flowers, the plants, the crop, and everything. And if the proper nourishment is not provided to the particular plant or the crop, then the yield is not as it's supposed to be. So too, the individual who are not able to absorb this energy, or who do not understand this process of energy flow, its generation, its connection to the existential energy, the process of transforming energy from one form to another. This is all entire a matter of the physics, which is a part of religion that has been known almost more than 5,000 years ago. So the energy has to be absorbed. But why does this energy fails to absorb? Or the problem arises when the connection is broken and the energy is not generating. Then this is one type of problem. When it is not absorbed, it starts flowing, creating the disturbance within the system. It is another part. And then when it begins to conserve and circulate throughout the entire plant, if only one part of the plant the energy reaches, so that will develop, the other will not. So this is where you see the human beings, they are not developed, their one part of them is developed, the other is remains undeveloped. The the overall development means every aspect of human life, which is body, is developed. You see some people whose body is very healthy, but the mind is not. So the body has to be healthy, the mind has to be properly nourished and nurtured, and then the being. So it is the confluence of the body, mind, and the beings that creates the harmony, and that we know as existence, or we call it by the name as God, which we cannot see. We can see our body. When change is taking place within our body, it is publicly visible to everyone, but the thought process that are going on within you, whether your thoughts are nourished and nurtured or not, it is private and only you can see. And the being, which is nothing else, your eyes, through the eyes you see, through the ears you hear, but eyes can see, but eyes cannot see you cannot see that capability, the subject in the eye that facilitates the process of viewing or seeing, the energy, the power, the subject. That so through the eyes you see everything, but you do not see the one who is sitting in a watchtower. Like whenever there is a big festival or occasion is there where there is a large congregation of the people, to have a look at everyone, we use the drone technology, or watchtowers are made through the equipments, and so the person who is sitting there, he keeps a control of everything whatsoever is happening, and through the drone technology. But you cannot see the drone, you cannot see that. Drone itself can see. This is simply an example to make you understand that the one that sees, has the capability to see, sees everything, but you cannot see that. So in that process, why does energy does not flow? Now when the energy is absorbed, it reaches every part of the plant, then the whole plant becomes nourished and its behavior changes. Its behavior is overall growth, the everyday. First, what is necessary? The stem has to be nourished and it has to be healthy. On a weak stem, a healthy crop, a rich crop cannot grow. So the stem has to be healthy, it has to be provided with enough nutrients. Nutrients means the physical form of energy. Thought is energy, the food that you eat energy, and the way you eat your food, the way you know the process of blending the various ingredients in the food, the oil, the condiments, the protein, the various elements, the proper blend of all these things put together makes the food nutritious for you. So this is what you have to understand, that when the stem is stronger, energized, then the leaves, then other branches and everything becomes healthy. Then the pots that are grown on that to put the rice, to have the rice kernels or wheat kernel or any other vegetables in it, they will be healthy. So it happens that overall development of an individual is based on the nourishment that reaches every part of the body. Sometimes it happens a certain part of the body where the energy has not reached. This is what we have observed. At the time of the birth, a certain amount of oxygen is necessary to reach the brain cells. So in case of a cesarean operation, if it happens, the children, when baby is born, the brain cells are not developed properly, or for some other kind of a nourishment that has not been provided during the process when the child was in mother's womb, certain parts remain deformed. So properly we mean that our body should not be deformed, and every part should be capable of performing. Then if your hands, if your feet, if your brain, if your eyes and everything are performing in harmony with one another, you are a healthy person. Your thoughts will be healthy, your presence and the energy field that flows out of you will be healthy, and it will help the others to be transformed. So then the behavior changes. So Jazb is the process of absorbing the energy, and Suluk is the word used for behavior. When the energy is absorbed, it is conserved, it circulates through all the parts, then the behavior changes. So the journey of transformation, or to know the tariqat, what is the tariqat, the way the Sufis call to know the truth, is to absorb the energy, circulate it among all parts of the body, and then naturally and spontaneously the behavior changes. If a plant is healthy, the proper nourishment has reached the pot, the carcass will be healthy, the nutrients will be healthy. In an individual case, the words that are flowing out of you, they are an inspiration. They have the capacity to transform. So Lalaji said, in order for this is an instruction for all those who are engaged in the process, who have given the opportunity for transformation of human consciousness, that first the focus should be on the energy, or absorbing the energy and knowing its various aspects, and then circulation, and then it begins to change your behavior. So what is the obstruction that hinders the absorption of the energy? That is known as nafs, according to the Sufi terminology. Nafs is of 7 types. So what is very important, the first and the foremost thing that is known as nafs al-amara, it means there is something in you that incites you to commit sins. You want to go to the temple or the place of worship. What somebody says, what is the point in going there? Let us go to the pub. Let us go to the party. Let us go to this. So that tendency that incites you to commit evil comes within the periphery of nafs al-ammara. Then it happens, the next one comes in when you start accusing yourself. There is something that accuses yourself. This is derogatory. Accusations is derogatory. This is the state when the conscience is awakened and it accuses the self. You know certain things are not right, but yet still, and you perform them, then you accuse yourself. This creates the negative tendencies in you. You start developing inferiority conflicts within you. Then comes at the next state, nafs an-nafs al-mutmaina, means this is nafs, that tendency of creating disturbance is now fallen into a sleep that is at peace. This level, one is firm in his faith and begins to leave the bad manners behind. The soul, the being becomes tranquil and is at peace. At this stage, the followers are relieved themselves of all materialism and worldly problems, etc. In addition to these three, the Sufis have given four more stages. That is, now it is the nafs, that tendency inspires you. That is an-nafs al-mulhama. That means at this stage, the actions on this level, one becomes more firm in listening to one's own conscience. So now that the negative mind, if in general terminology for your understanding I use, there is a negative aspect of the mind and the positive. So negative is 90% and 10% in the beginning is the positive mind. So it is negative mind is more strong, and being stronger, it discourages you from doing. Slowly and slowly the percentage changes. More and more light is coming into the negative aspects of the brain or the mind, and you are more becoming more inclined towards the positive side. So this is where the process has begun, but it has not completed as yet. One becomes more firm in listening to the positive side, but yet has not surrendered or submitted itself to the positive thinking, positive way of life. Once one has seen one's weaknesses and have set one's target, the ego inspires one to do the good. It is the ego, that self, the false self, which is not yet true. Ego is that which gives you the impression that there is something, but it is not. It is a shadow of the reality. This is the next. After that comes nafs, an-nafs al-radiya. That means this level, one is pleased with whatever comes from Allah or from the existence. Because Sufism is the inner kernel of Islam, so the terminology is also coming from the Quran, that is Arabic language in which basically it was written. So it is at this stage, whatever comes from the existence, or that is accepted, and one lives in the present moment. What the present moment brings to you, you are in harmony with that. A beginning, the process has begun to be in harmony with all that is, rather than lamenting over the past, which is no more, or the future, which is not yet born. So this is how this process goes on. Then it is, the process has begun, but it is not yet complete. The next comes nafs, an-nafs al-mardiya. That means one has made peace, one is soft and tolerant with the other people. If someone insults you, it is coming because of certain reasons. If someone says something to me, that is your opinion about me, not my understanding. You may say that you have these bad qualities. In this, a beautiful anecdote comes in the life of George Ivanovich Gurdjieff. He was known as a rascal saint. He belonged to the Armenian descent. His family was nomadic. So when his father was dying, he said, I have nothing to give to you, George, as the wealth or anything, but my experience of life is condensed in one sentence. If you can understand this, and when you begin to follow this, your life will be transformed. What is that? The father said, when anger is coming to you, postpone it for 24 hours. Postpone it for 24 hours. Anger and these kind of things is now for now. If you do not follow them, now it cannot happen another time. It immediately vanishes. So Gurdjieff started practicing from the same time. And if you met somebody and somebody said, you are a very hasty person, so if somebody says to you, you are very hasty, how can you say that I am hasty? You may be hasty. You start reacting. But Gurdjieff's father told him, so he said, I cannot answer your question now. I'll come back in 24 hours and then I will speak to you about it. So when he went and he realized, when you introspect, you did not respond, react at the same time, and this has given you the opportunity to introspect on what has been said about you, and you realize that I am really a hasty person because they are impatient. So if it is true, then why to argue with that person? And if it is not true, why to bother about it? It is the opinion of that person. If whatever the person has said about you is not true, so why to quarrel? Why to argue with that person? But normally we argue with the person without knowing ourselves. We do not know ourselves. We have not experienced our own entire inernity, in the innerness in its entirety. And when somebody says the crow has taken your nose, so you're running behind the crow, not seeing. You look at first you are missing something. Look at it yourself before making the hue and cry about everything. So this comes, you have started making peace with others. So Gurdjieff's life was transformed with that particular technique, tariqat, or the way of life. Then comes the pure nafs or an-nafs al-safiya. This is, you have complete trust, the attributes of man who is complete in itself. Now you have to attain, the plant has to attain to nourishment completely. Only then, if the plant is not nourished, if you are not healthy, if you have not are not standing up, how can you help the other to stand up? You are sitting on the chair. In order to help the person to stand up, you have to stand up first and make yourself, you are firm, and then you can help the person to rise. This is known as, in Islamic terminology or Sufi terminology, Kamil Insan. Kamil means total. Total in all its aspects. The hands are healthy, the feet is healthy, you can stand up and can bear that. So this is because of these things, it happens that the energy is not absorbed, it does not flow. And now, how does the energy flows? There are various channels. Various channels through which the energy, like your, look at this electrical system that is installed in your house. There is a main place where it is the electrical board or the panel board is there. There are various the places. If the disturbance is on that side, you can turn off the electric supply in that particular area or something or the other. So accordingly, the electrical engineers set that. So then from there it begins to circulate throughout the house, according to the needs. You need in a living room a different kind of energy, different kind of a supply, different kind of arrangements. You need the everywhere it is different. So according to the needs, you decide how you want to have the outlets for the bulb or the tube light or any other source or the plug points, so that you can have the functioning properly running. So these are known as psychocenters within the human body. The existential energy that comes into your body as existential bioenergy comes to your within you, and it is stored in the earth center. Human body, the earth center. The energy has to be, like, if you simply look at the practical example, if you want to do the agriculture, you have to fertilize the soil. And in order to fertilize the soil, you have to provide its nutrients that are necessary. And after a process, a crop is harvested, then the fertilizing capacity of that soil is eroded, gets less. So you have to refertilize it and provide the nutrient and the nutrients in order to absorb. Now you want to make a cup of tea. So you put the tea, you put the sugar, but the sugar will not melt unless there is a liquid into it. So the nutrients have to be absorbed. The earth can absorb the nutrients only when there is a liquid. So this is here the second center comes in. The first is the earth center, next is the water center. The energy flows within these two centers, and these are known as sex centers. This is just as the water that flows inside your house is the same water, have the same chemical composition, which is hydrogen and oxygen, 2 parts of hydrogen and 1 part of oxygen. That is the proper basic composition of it, of the water. It does not matter whether water is dirty or it has rust, but its chemical composition does not change. The other things are different. So the water absorbs that energy, that nutrient energy. So that's where the importance of the sex center comes in. After that comes the solar plexus, through which you were connected during mother's womb for nourishment and everything. And through that process, you were absorbing the nourishment within. So this nourishment comes from that existential energy. So basic, the process, the hierarchy, it is the basic energy, which is the sex energy. It has to be developed, it has to be grown, and it has to transform itself, because energy's form changes. It can never be destroyed or created. So what it is happening, the sex energy does 2 functions. It can create a new life and it can create consciousness. So it can create a new life. This is one way of the transformation of the sex energy. It can create another body, but it cannot create in that way the being. So it will create the body, it will create this shell. Just as your electrical system that you installed in your house, it provides the body for the electrical energy to channel throughout the different areas or the parts of the house. But it is not the energy. The energy comes from the external source. When you are connected to the electric supply in your country or in your area, Then the electric current comes, but through that channels, through that wiring system, which in a way you can say it is the body within which the electric current flows. This is the channels and all those things. So there is an outer shell of the wire. It has the positive, the different color wires. The electric current flows through that, and at a certain terminal, because it cannot remain exposed, it must be within its protective shell. Same way, your energy within the body flows between the protective shells. Those are known as channels, energy channels throughout the body. Just as the electrical wiring in your house is the channel for the flowing of the electric current in your house, or the water supply in different areas. In kitchen you need a particular type of tap, and all those are different matters. We have to understand this energy is now that comes into you, as you have to continue to have your connection with the external source, and at the same time you have to generate the energy within. The energy comes like, see, you put the nourishment, but the nourishment is not the energy. It is the entire process of the digestion, which through the process of digestion the food is decomposed. Certain part becomes the energy, the other part becomes the roughage, and that is excreted out of the body. So this is the entire process. The energy, that is the food that you consume, the thoughts that you consume, they are the gross source of energy. Through the different kind of, even with the food, your gross energy comes to you, and it carries the subtle energy. Gross energy comes or moves within the system in its own way, and the subtle energy moves into another way. This is where the gross energy of sex creates a body, but the subtle energy creates the consciousness or the opportunity, that is known as ojas. That is the other part of the energy. Just as the food, the protein, the carbohydrate, the minerals, the trace elements, all these are provide the gross energy to the body. But when body is in harmony, something is born in you, and the form of the energy changes, and it makes you capable to perform your work that you need to perform at a particular time. Enough for now. This process will continue tomorrow. Enough for now.